Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure what this video is kind of meant to be. It's sort of part vlog, part mental health video advice for hobbying, but really it's kind of a guide on how not to do a project. This one was a bit hectic and a bit of a faff. Especially, the problem with this one was it was a project I was working with somebody else, and the person I was working with super nice and super chill about things, but I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to help them get good content for their channel. I was invited a couple of weeks ago now to play some 10mm Lord of the Rings using the Piquet rule system. Piquet is a rule system where there's basically like one master rule book, and then there's various, I suppose, supplements or expansions that let you play different periods throughout history, and there's a fantasy supplement as well. Now, we were going to use this to play Lord of the Rings, like a big massed battle game of Lord of the Rings, basically. Now, I was invited by John from JMax Armies of Middle-earth to take part. His channel is linked below in the description. He is a, absolutely top Middle-earth content YouTuber. He does lots of strategy battle game, does lots of conversions, very similar to the content I do, but like better, basically. Sorry, I'm looking at my script now. Being very, very disorganized, running theme for this video. So I picked up a couple of 10mm armies a few months ago now, because some of the guys in my local club are doing 10mm fantasy, and I've always kind of wanted a Warmaster army, and I deliberately bought two armies that I could use for, I guess, Lord of the Rings low fantasy settings. Warmaster is set in the old world, so you've got high elves, chaos, big green orcs. But I went for an Araby army and a Wood Elf army, because both of those forces would work well in, as I said, Lord of the Rings setting. So the plan was to record a battle report for John's channel. So I couldn't really get away with using unpainted minis. When you're trying to produce content for YouTube, people kind of expect painted stuff. As you can see from the rest of the video, my plans to get this massive Araby/Harad army painted in time just kind of fell apart. It was a bit of a faff. But I did learn a lot about improving my workflow as a hobbyist, and for planning projects. Kind of a lot of learning went on in these hectic few days. But anyway, I hope you enjoy whatever this video is. Have fun. Leave a comment below if you want to see more 10mm stuff, because I really enjoyed it. I really like working on the smaller scale things, but I don't know if people just kind of expect 28mm because it's the norm. Let me know.
I am currently out walking my dog, Obi. Obi, say hello. Oh, good boy. You can probably hear some like heavy machinery / cars in the background. It's been a motorbike festival this weekend in the town I live in, so I think they're all going home this morning, so it's a bit louder than it usually is. But I thought I would grab this footage now in real time. It is about 10 a.m. On Monday morning. Now, this Thursday, I am playing John from JMax Armies of Middle-earth. We're playing a 10mm game. I think we're using the Piquet rules. Obi, stop eating grass. We're using the Piquet rules. Now, the problem is I don't have a 10mm army. I bought one a couple of weeks ago that is currently sitting on my desk, but it's not painted. I spent all day yesterday getting supports off the 3D printed models. I thought it was going to be like a 10-minute job, but it turned into a whole day job, as these things often do. And I'm in a little bit of panic mode. I have just over 48 hours to finish this army because I'm playing another game on Wednesday night and I need to get packed up and things. So really I need everything finished by sort of Wednesday afternoon. So yeah, just over 48 hours. So it's going to be a little bit of a speed painting panic, sobbing into my paint water video today. Hopefully I get everything done. It would be really nice to get the army fully painted for the battle report, but I'm sure I'll manage. Hopefully. What do you think, Obi? Do you think I'm going to manage? Obi? No, he's not impressed. Right, back from the walk, and this is what I have to do in the next 2 days. It actually doesn't look as bad as I think I had it in my head. There's quite a lot of fiddly bits on these models. They are the Araby Warmaster 10mm models from, I think they're sculpted by Forest Dragon, but I got them printed by a company called Mighty Minis UK. I will double check all of those details and stick it down in the subscribe in the description. These are obviously going to represent my Haradrim. I've got elephants, I've got camels, I've got horsemen, and some spearmen and archers. I'll do like a proper review of the models as I go, but more or less I'm pretty chuffed with them. The plan is to get these sprayed up this morning whilst I kind of have my breakfast, and then get started pretty much straight away. I started off just painting a few stands of the infantry, really just to test out my colour scheme. I kept things pretty simple because I was up against the clock. Just some Talisar blue contrast for the turbans and Fire Slayer orange for the sashes. And I used snakebite leather on the wood. The contrast paints here were really great. They work really well on these smaller scale models because there's enough detail for them to sink into, and let's face it, who's highlighting things at this scale? I used my trusty Vallejo metallics for, well, the metal bits, and then finally I gave them a dunk in Vallejo's sepia army dip. It comes in like a big pot and you basically just dip the whole model in. I wanted these guys to look like they had been marching for a little while, all covered in dust and grime from their desert home. So it is a few hours later. Well, more than a few hours later, actually. It is about 7 hours later. And time has not been used particularly productively today. We had some friends come over for lunch with their puppy, which is super fun for Obi, but not great for painting productivity. I have painted 3 bases and some shields. Yeah, I have all of this still to do. But I was chatting to John from JMax Armies of Middle Earth, who I am playing on Thursday, so now a day and a bit away. And he suggested just sticking everything down to the bases and painting the bits that I can see. Also, having had a look at the size of the force he has for his Gondorians, it's not quite as big as my Haradrim. Now, he's planning to run them as Romans using the Piquet Rules, so they're a bit more elite than the Arab list I was looking at. So I probably will still need a few more models than him, or a few more stands. But I think I can probably get away with painting about half of what I was originally planning to, which does take the pressure off a little bit. However, I do need to crack on. I've got a few hours before dinner, and then I'll have some food and then get back to it this evening. Hopefully I get at least these infantry done before dinner, fingers crossed, and then maybe some cavalry and Mumax later on, and then possibly some archers tomorrow. We'll see. Right, back to it. Hey guys, it is the start of day 2 of this, I want to say mega project, but it's kind of like devolved into just a regular project now, to be honest. Yeah, after a conversation with John yesterday, I'm feeling a lot more positive about what we've got to do still. We've got some Mumak, some spears, and some cavalry to finish off. I did a little bit more last night, so now we're on to the brown. So picking out like the leather, and then we've got the metallics to do a few details, and then we're pretty much done bar the basing. Honestly, the basing is something I'm like the most nervous about because I have not done any planning for that. But I'm sure we can work it out as we go. Maybe, fingers crossed. So it is about 2 o'clock on Wednesday now, cutting it very fine, but we are done, at least done enough for playing some games this week. The models are a little bit rough around the edges, but honestly, at the scale, it looks fine. The only thing I'm not really happy about is the basing. Well, not the basing. The basing looks fine, but I rushed it and got static grass all up the models. I'll probably need to go back and tidy them up a little bit, but yeah. I'll grab some better like battle shots when I'm playing John tomorrow, but this gives you an idea of what the army looks like as a whole.
Well, I definitely think that hard work paid off. If I say so myself, I think the army turned out really well. With these smaller scales, you can really get an impressive looking force in very little time. And because they're ranked up so closely, you can hide a multitude of painting sins. Piquet is a great set of rules. Honestly, I was a little bit apprehensive playing them. I'd skimmed the rulebooks and they looked really complicated, but once you get started, they're pretty simple. John has really converted me on them. Basically, you get your one core rulebook, and then you get your expansions for different periods of history. So you've got a Napoleonics one, and English Civil War one, all the way up to, I think they go all the way up to like World War II. We played our game using the Ancients rule set because, you know, that kind of made sense for Lord of the Rings Dark Age warfare. If you want to see how the battle played out, John will be uploading a video at some point. So if you check out JMAC's Armies of Middle-earth, which is linked down below in the description. Just a quick note for any younger viewers, John is Glaswegian and he can't help but let out the occasional naughty word. My big takeaway from this project is that I really need to organise my time better. I put myself under way too much pressure by, one, just not giving myself enough time, and two, not working out a plan beforehand. Because this was kind of a collab project-y thing, I really should have spoken to John and worked out how many models he had, how many units he had, and what an army for Piquet really looks like. in my head, I was like, right, it's going to be the same as Warmaster, and my Warmaster collection was 2,000 points, which was a standard battle, so I needed to paint all of that. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content that is hopefully a little bit less chaotic than this, please hit that subscribe button and give the video a like. And if you have any other mass battle rule sets that you would suggest that would work well for large-scale battles in Middle-earth, please drop them down in the comments. Now that I've got an army, I really want to get some games in with it. Thanks again, and bye!